Hi, I'm Dr. Rudy Cashman. Welcome to the Wellness Show. This one is specifically aimed at preventing, stopping, reversing type 2 diabetes, heart attacks, strokes, all the complications of diabetes. It's such a plague in this nation, in the world. You know, we get excited about Ebola and Zika, all these mosquitoes and all these diseases. They're important. Certainly they're important. But that's what's killing America, disabling America. It's this type 2 diabetes. And I'm sad to say, that you need to participate in your own health care, your own education, develop some knowledge, because at the federal level, at the state level, I was just at the State House yesterday, speaking to the people that are responsible for educating us, teaching us about prevention. And I tell you honestly, the state is not going to get this done. We ourselves are going to have to participate in the healthcare and learn. And it's not difficult. Just watch my shows, read books I recommend. You know what the wonderful news is? Type 2 diabetes, and I'll tell you the difference between type 1 and type 2 in a second, is stoppable, preventable, reversible, 30 to 60 days, 90% of the time. Opportunity, opportunity, opportunity. Yeah, type 1 diabetes is more commonly seen in children, but now adults, where you don't make insulin, okay? In children, it's seen as an autoimmune disease, and where a virus attacks, destroys the pancreas, which secretes insulin, which you need to push sugar into the cells for energy, okay? Here's a demonstration of insulin resistance, which leads to diabetes, but just shows one cell, the receptors on it, and it's insulin's job to bring sugar into the cell for energy to make 1 ATP. Without that, you'd be dead, okay? So that's very important. But in children, they don't secrete insulin before 1920, they died. And once they lost their pancreas, they died. But then Banting and Best from Canada developed insulin, discovered insulin, and those kids that had that then lived. The problem is now is that the type 2 diabetes is that because our cells, these receptors, they're receptors that stick up like this. That's the message that sends, these are neuropeptides, that insulin has to open the door to the cell for sugar to get in to make energy, okay? And the pancreas, and to keep the blood sugar normal, the pancreas will secrete more insulin. Eventually it poops out, and then it doesn't make insulin anymore, and then you're the type 2 diabetic. You get it? The one a disease knocks out the pancreas, like viruses, bacteria, but also other things, like milk can do it. Yeah, don't believe it? Read a book, Whitewash, by Joseph Keon, right here. If you read this book, I don't think you'll be giving milk to the children anymore. Dr. Colin Campbell, China study, very famous biochemist in the world, China study, says in there, casein, the protein in milk, is the most carcinogenic chemical for cancer in the world. Most carcinogenic. He studied in the Philippines and found that children were developing, especially the well-to-do who were drinking a lot of milk, were developing liver cancer. Yeah. Watch Forks Over Knives, a great DVD, great book to read. It's right in that book. Very interesting. And milk so makes these carcinogenic casein, and kids can develop autoimmune disease of that, increased rates of type 2 diabetes, also increased rates of cancer. Well known, it's right in that book. It's not brought up very much, but you need to gather, information. So in this country, we have 150 million people that are pre-diabetic. They're on the path to diabetes. But the interesting thing is, if you're on the path to diabetes, okay, you can still develop all the complications of diabetes. What are they? Blindness, cataracts, glaucoma. It's the biggest cause of blindness. Mouth disease, all kind of gum diseases are due to diabetes. A lot of kids that are pre-diabetic or diabetic lose their teeth. Yeah, because of the increased sugar, the bacteria attack it and destroy the gums and the teeth. It's true. Thyroid disease, it's the biggest cause of heart attacks and strokes. Most of the people come to the emergency room have had a heart attack. The majority don't realize they were pre-diabetic or diabetic. The screening has been incorrect, and we'll talk about that a bit. And all could have been avoided. 90% of that could have been avoided if someone had diagnosed them earlier along the path, okay? Along the path to diabetes. We check people today. We go to General Motors and we pull blood sugars, and you could be weight 250 pounds, and we get a blood sugar. It's normal. You don't have diabetes. Baloney, baloney, baloney. They're pre-diabetic if you're that overweight. If you do a waist measurement, it's over 40 inches for a man. One measurement, okay? 2 measurements if you want. But no other measurements are needed at the umbilicus. Over 40 inches, you're diabetic. Right from the American Diabetic Association. I saw it in one of their manuals. Woman over 35. Mm-hmm. It's true. And on the testing thing, so we're checking mainly people use screening blood sugar. Well, we're not catching you on the road to diabetes. Well, how do you do that? Well, you check the lipids in the blood. Also, something called the NMR test, nuclear magnetic resonance test. And you're, we get so excited about the cholesterol, the LDL, and they all want to give you statins to take, and many of them do. If you've had no problems, you're taking statins. They should be taken by people who've had heart attacks to reduce inflammation in your body. The large LDL, the large cholesterol, is almost irrelevant. It's the very low density LDL, which you check with an MMR test, that counts. The particle number and the particle size. It's these little BBs that hit every crack in your blood vessels and bifurcations, where things spread. That is what causes vascular disease. It's not the big cholesterol. That people have cholesterol is 400, and they're just fine. Like a familiar thing, and you say, they're not sick. It's the very low density LDL, NMR test, number of particles, particle size. Dr. Mark Hyman wrote a book, and you can actually print it off the internet, which I think is a very good thing to do. How to work with your doctor, okay? 71 pages, free. Page 9, 10, 11 talks about the proper testing, and what he's saying is stage 1 diabetes, most providers don't even know it's got stages to it. Okay, yeah, the stages were originally written by Dr. Atkins. Yeah, people badmouth an idea. Well, he's the one, sugar was the booger. While the American Heart Association, the NIH, CDC are telling us that it's the fat. No, it's been in books, in the literature now. Big fat surprise for Nina Highholes, New York Times reporter, right then, Mark Hegstead from Harvard was bribed a lot of money to say that the problem was the fat when he knew it was the sugar. That's out in the public. I'm not saying anything isn't true. It's out in the public. It was recently confirmed by a doctor from Indiana, who a obesity doctor was working in Bloomington, a New York Times editorial, along with a lady from the Joslin Diabetic Institute in Harvard, very famous institute, which they put it out there too, that we've been given false information. They got it right in there. Another article in the New York Times called it the insulin racket, where Sanofi, Eli Lilly, or Novum doubled the price of insulin 2 or 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. It's true. Which caused me to write a book called The Scam, the Racket, the Fraud of Type 2 Diabetes, because we're not diagnosing it early enough, because we could get rid of it 90% of the time in 30 to 60 days. If you eat a nutrient-dense diet 70, 80% of the time, the darn disease would be gone in a month, most of the time. So to let you have diabetes for the government, and even at the state level, yesterday I was at the state level, talked to the top people who had not read any of these books. It's true. Sad, sad, sad. I'm talking about it. Do what you want. I'm speaking the truth. So who's going to change your health, prevent diabetes? Good screening. Okay, remember I talked about the screening. So put together on one page, Prevent, Stop, Reverse Diabetes. Try to get a hold of it. One page, so you don't have to read a whole bunch of books. So you use the screening of Mark Hyman, the 6 steps. He took the Atkins thing. The Atkins thing was based on 63 papers of Dr. DeFranzo, the most famous diabetic specialist in the world, who still works out of Texas. I caught him on the phone going up the steps to China through the American Diabetic Association meeting. Incidentally, the obesity doctor from Bloomington, from IU, said in her article in the New York Times, you can Google it, New York Times, diabetes, it will come up. She had been to the latest American Diabetic Association conference in New Orleans recently. Hundreds, maybe 1,000 papers on drugs and things used for diabetes. Not one paper on the subject we're talking about preventing it, stopping it, reversing it. Not one paper. She put it in there. You can read it. I'm not the only one saying this. It's right in there. Is that a fraud? Yes, it's a fraud. Because if you can prevent and stop diabetes 90% of the time with a proper lifestyle, what you put in your fingers, your fork, take a half-hour walk a day, I mean, is this a big deal I'm talking about? So, Mark Hyman, Blood Sugar Solutions, Mark Hyman, he put the 6 steps, those free pages you can print off, 6 steps to diabetes. What he recommended, and I recommend, saves you overweight and your blood sugar is normal, get a glucose tolerance test. You can take it by mouth, but I get it IV, go to the doctors, fast overnight. They check your blood sugar. Fasting, no eating, 8 hours, 6 hours, 1 hour, 2 hours. And you need to get a serum insulin. Serum insulin, because the blood sugar will be normal for a long time, for years, maybe 10 years, but the insulin level is elevated. Remember the picture I showed you? The insulin level is elevated. Type 1 diabetes, lose 5 to 8% of your body weight, the disease is gone. And all these 30 illnesses, which include amputations, blindness, liver disease, renal disease, thyroid disease, heart attack, strokes, gum disease, all can be avoided. Come on, let's get to work. Not difficult. So I have it on one page. On the back of the page, I wrote down those complications I've been speaking about because people are not aware of it. They're not aware what the horrible things could happen to you. Like to a funeral I went to recently. I went to a funeral recently. You can't believe what I saw. The man that died had both legs amputated. Okay, all right. He'd been overweight. Yeah. A brother was walking around, one leg amputated already. Okay. 2 other siblings had it but were blind to it. Okay. And I'll talk to you about it in January, Rudy. Okay. But you don't know these complications. I mean, you can have an unannounced heart attack like that. The first sign of a heart attack in people who've got diabetes is not angina, arm pain, short of breath, death. Mark Hyman on his tape, Blood Sugar Solutions, his tape, right on there. 50% of the people who the first symptom of heart disease, a sudden death. No warning. Remember, pre-diabetes is diabetes. Pre-diabetes, it may occur for 10, 20 years. Kids have it. Dr. DeFranzo said it starts in the uterus because the mother and father had bad health habits. They smoked, they drank, they ate the wrong food. Genetic changes occur through epigenetics, and you're born pre-diabetic. You'll probably die of a heart attack at 35, 40, have a stroke, maybe sooner. Maybe sooner. So act on getting tested, demand serum insulin, and get your NMR test. Particle number, particle size. And a lot of that stuff's getting cheaper. Matter of fact, if you just ordered, let me tell you an interesting story too. You know, Nancy Reagan, when her President Reagan, remember he died of dementia. And the complication I had mentioned in diabetes, dementia is a big one because the sugar combines with protein deposits in the brain, interferes with conduction, and they'll call it Alzheimer's disease. It isn't Alzheimer's disease. It's dementia from diabetes. That's probably 50% of the people that we say have Alzheimer's disease who are all thinking it's going to be a huge expense. You see Eli Lilly recently announced they spent $800 million trying to develop a single drug. We could prevent half of the dementia problem, or what we're going to call Alzheimer's disease. There is such a disease, but it's not common. What we're seeing is dementia from the sugar and the protein, the ages that get deposited in the brain. 50% could be prevented if we attack type 2 diabetes. So Eli Lilly spent $800 million, okay? And when we could prevent a lot of that, we need to get to work. But people are not aware that insulin resistance occurs in the brain. That's what causes memory loss. Things get sticky up there. We can't conduct the electrical impulse. But that's good news too. Alzheimer's disease itself is a horrible disease. Start at age 30, 40, 50. Some of them past age 60. They live 6.8 years. But that's not the majority of people that we saying get Alzheimer's disease. Peter Whitehouse wrote a book called The Myth of Alzheimer's Disease. He was the main researcher for Aricept, the main drug we give people. Oh, you're missing a few words, we hand you a drug. Instead of saying, hey, how about knocking off 10% of your body weight, your diabetes go away, your memory clear up, maybe use a few things to, just like we exercise our body, I recommend you exercise your brain. Go to cashmanhealth.com, hit Rudy's Brain Gym, an icon there, and there's enough stuff there to keep you busy for a lifetime, a site that we put together. You need to exercise your memory every day, okay? Develop a few memory tricks. It is normal for a person to lose a little memory from getting older, okay? Yeah, but you can really slow it down if you exercise, keep a normal weight, don't drink too much. Alcohol is destructive to the brain. Alcohol will shrink the brain. I saw it as a neurosurgeon, be an inch off the skull, and they have blood clots, operate them all the time for blood clots. Alcohol is destructive to the brain, okay? Not 2 or 3 drinks a week. We're talking about the people with the problems, but boy, did I see a lot of it. I probably did 1,000 operations where I put holes in the head to drain blood clots, because the brain at that time is too late. Okay, but we can, through exercise, proper eating, avoid half of the dementia problems. But yet, is the state talking about it? They're totally unaware of it. I spoke to them yesterday about it. I don't know if they don't want to know or whatever it is, but there's a lack of information at a state level and a federal government level. Maybe they don't want you to get well. I don't know. I don't think it's the reason. I think it's lack of knowledge. But to me, the focus is diabetes. If you get rid of type 2 diabetes, you're getting rid of 30 diseases. And it's doable. Doable. Your blood sugars, if you ate right, nutrient dense, that's on that one sheet I got, your blood sugars return normal in a week. I've had diabetic specialists confirm that. But we need people with passion behind it, okay? Look at DVDs, Forks Over Knives. I was watching it again this morning. That's a great one to watch. Blood Sugar Solutions by Mark Hyman. His DVD, his books are great. But again, all you need to do is follow this sheet of mine here. That's really all you need. And get tested. Eat nutrient dense 78% of the time, not 100%. No diet. Eat all you want of food full of vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals. It's a symphony, the mosaic, the interaction will make you well, because it speaks to your genes. Speaks to your genes. So if you eat that way, and suppose you were terribly overweight and you felt, oh yeah, I'm looking too good. This is a judgment-free zone, okay? The nutrients in this food, I've seen it many times, make you look beautiful. I've got pictures of these people. I'm talking about not just 180 pounds. I'm talking about 300-pound people now weigh 180 and they look like movie stars. I got the pictures. Oh yeah, look at my website. I got some on my phone. The same time that you're learning to eat right and exercise a little bit, I didn't say diet. Animal products are a big problem because they eat bad food. They eat genetically modified food. They didn't exercise. They give them hormones, pesticides. They put them in a little cage. The last 150 days, I have a trough going by with genetically modified corn. They eat it. They put on herbicides and pesticides and things to fatten them up. And of course, when you eat the animal, you ate what they ate, and you're going to get sick. So meat eating isn't exactly a good idea. They didn't say 0, 20, 30%, but the rest of the time eat foods of color. You can add mushrooms, you can add onions, because they're full of vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals. They will rewrite your genetic code. through epigenetics will be written, and you will be very, very healthy. Here's another interesting book, Goodbye Diabetes. I highly recommend this book. I met Dr. Wes Youngberg. He's part of the Almond Society, Seventh-day Adventist. I don't go to their church, but they were 500 of them meeting in Hilton Head. I was visiting my daughter, and the house was full, so I stayed at the Sonesta Hotel. And I met him there personally. He had written this book. And he has a 5 steps to diabetes in there, which does not involve serum insulins, just the blood sugars as they're slowly elevating, catching you on the path to diabetes before the full-blown diabetes. It's in my one-page sheet here. So I think it's excellent too. I think maybe use a combination of the two. Catch you early. If you need, exercise a little bit, eat 70-80% nutrient-dense foods of color, and you'll be healthy. It's not difficult. This ain't brain science. It's that the medical society, that the state public health people, that the federal people are not big time into this. I don't understand. I don't get it. Maybe getting a lot of money from Pharma, maybe a lot of money in medical care, but what they don't realize is that probably they make more money doing this, okay? We need to pay medical people for getting people well. That's how it should be done. Sick care is what we got. Here's your prescription, see you later, okay? We need people to participate in the healthcare. For that, I wrote the Magic 8 Cultural Wellness Circle. You can get a hold of one of these websites too. What I'm saying is, number one, you must participate in your healthcare, okay? It's your script to the ill ain't gonna work because they may give you the wrong script, okay? Check the internet, Google it, talk to friends, neighbors, read books. We lack information, okay? We lack information. And before I start on that, incidentally, my latest book going to Amazon, I got 25 books on there. Or you can go to cashmanhealth.com and watch 150 TV shows on all subjects of health, okay? All free. Breast cancer prevention is the cure. You can eliminate 50 to 70% of breast cancer by being of normal weight, not smoking, consuming no more than 3 to 5 drinks a week. 70% of breast cancer will disappear. We have 200,000 cases. We have 200,000 cases a year. You know, they may act like it's coming way down. No, we're diagnosing it a little earlier. But when you get these screening tests, which I want you to get, but you really get cancer. What I'm talking about, preventing it, that you don't get it. They're diagnosing you when you got it. Okay, that's important. Get the screening done. But this is about not getting in the first, just getting it in the first place. Now I told you, this book is a great read because it's based on Mayo Clinic books, Cleveland Clinic books, a few other famous authors. And so this is scientifically based. I kept it simple. A high school kid could read it. It's not hard. If you're overweight and you're a woman, your chance of getting breast cancer is quite high. You get to a normal weight, you exercise a little bit, eat all you want of nutrient-dense food, don't drink much, and don't start if you haven't started, and don't smoke, you'd eliminate 70% chance of getting breast cancer. I think it's kind of huge. While they go through, I'm really empathetic. And but Wes Youngberg, this book, The 5 Stages to Diabetes, he went to the island of Guam through the Almond Society, and that island had been flattened by the Japanese and destroyed their agriculture, and they were eating fish and their own fresh vegetables. And they ate American food and Spam. 95% of the island became like this, 90%. All got diabetes. He went there for 15 years and figured out a way to stop it, reverse it, prevent it. And he wrote up these 5 stages. They're now used at Kaiser Permanente in California in the outlying clinics, because I heard him as a lecturer. So, you know, they're doing it. So, you know, do him or the Mark Hyman or a combination of them together. I also like you to know a little bit about the mind-body connection. I was at our reunion, alumni reunion, and And I listened to what the curriculum was going to be the next 5 years, and hardly anything about nutrition. Nothing was mentioned about that our thought process. Candace Pert wrote a book, Molecules of Emotion, okay? All right? She discovered the opiate receptor site. Remember we were talking about receptors? She's the one who discovered them. 1972 at NIH. She should have gotten the Nobel Prize for Medicine. Her boss wanted it, and there was a conflict, so nobody got it. She should have gotten it. A wonderful book to read. Then I wrote The Mind-Body Connection. How does the mind speak to our body? Paul Wilson, head of psychiatry at Park Center recently, I heard him give a lecture. He said 50% of the people go see a doctor have mild, medium, or severe depression. They're misdiagnosed 90% of the time. 90%. I jumped out of my chair because I knew this book, and I'd written my own book, but yet at the med school, they don't teach this at all. How does this speak to our body? Through these receptors, neuropeptides, through hormones, neurotransmitters. When we think, our body reacts because those neuropeptides end up in these. Then she discovered that that monocytes in our blood, part of the Army, Navy, and Air Force that defends us, okay, they make the same darn thing. So they speak back to the brain and the body, okay? So we have a chemical body. So we go see a doctor and we get a neck pain, and the husband left you a week ago and lost your job a month ago, and you say your neck hurts, and they get an MRI, say, oh, we got to fuse your neck. Give me a break. These hormones are playing a part on your body right now. Is that part of the problem? That should be asked. That should be asked. What's going on in your life should be the question. It's not just the MRI. What's going on in your life? So to understand the mind-body connection, very important. Rarely meet a med student or a doctor has ever read those books. At the state level, where I just was, they hadn't read the book. Yeah. The head doctor had not read it. Mm-hmm. Not believable. When that accounts probably 70% of the illnesses they look at in the doctor's office. Our emotions. Yeah, that was really sad. So get your blood tested, okay? Learn something about the mind-body connection. Maybe read my book, Mind-Body Connection, or look at YouTube. I discuss it there, free. Molecules of Emotion, Candace Pert. Get your blood checked. And yearly, starting at age 1. Every child, everybody gets it. That way we catch you on the path to diabetes. You can avoid all these chronic diseases. Yes, heart disease, vascular disease, blindness, amputations, fatty liver disease, all can be avoided through proper lifestyle. How shameful that every provider is not screaming this at you. Sorry for being a little excited here, but this is opportunity. This smells of opportunity. We can prevent a lot of disease. Look at our other shows. I give a free lecture at Lutheran Hospital once a month. CashmanHealth.com. You can see the schedule on stopping and preventing diabetes. Once a month, 1 hour, free. Why did I do this? I love you. That's why I do it. Okay. And I've seen many good results. Many people walk up to me down the street and say, I got over my diabetes. I'm well now. So, and we love you. Namaste. Follow us, join us, be part of us. You see me, talk to me, and we'll share a cup of coffee. And if you have questions, I gladly answer them for you. And we'll see you at the next show. Namaste.